Hi there. Today we're looking at Obadiah. We're looking at the fourth of 12 of the minor prophets, and Obadiah is next on the list. It's an interesting little book. It's the smallest book in the Old Testament. It's only 21 verses long. Obadiah is interesting because we have this message that God has given him, but we don't know anything about Obadiah. We don't know when he lived. We don't know when he wrote. We don't even know what his dad's name is. A lot of times, a prophet is given, he's the son of somebody. We just have Obadiah. We know his name. Obadiah means the servant of the Lord, which is kind of a cool name, isn't it? The servant of the Lord. So Obadiah came and he had a message from God. And it's interesting because the message was not for Israel and the message was not for the southern kingdom in Judah. This short 21 verse message was for the people of Edom. Now, who are the Edomites? Who is that? That's important. The Edomites are cousins with Israel. If we go back all the way back to Abraham and Sarah had a son named Isaac. Isaac grew up, got married to Rebekah, and they had twins. The older brother was named Esau, the younger brother was named Jacob. Esau became the father of the Edomites, the nation of Edom, and Jacob became the father of the Israelites, the nation of Israel. So Esau and Jacob were twin brothers, and the Israelites and the Edomites were cousins. They're cousins. And as sometimes we have a lot of fun with cousins, but Edom and Israel was always friction. It was always difficult times. And we're seeing this message that God has given to Obadiah to give to the Edomites. And the message is judgment is coming. And the judgment is coming because of their prideful actions towards Judah. So we're going to read in Obadiah, there's only one chapter, but in verse 3, it says this: The pride of your heart has deceived you. You who live in the clefts of the rocks and make your home on the heights, you who say to yourself, who can bring me down to the ground? They lived in a rugged mountain terrain. There were narrow canyons that would lead in and out. So that made an attack from an invading army very difficult. To have to go over the mountains or come through the canyon, coming through the canyon, Edom's army would be above you. They'd have the high ground, and it was hard. It was hard to attack them. So they felt pretty secure. They also had pretty good financial situation going. They had their own businesses. But then people that wanted to bring their goods in a caravan through those canyons, well, to come through our canyons and not face our army up in the mountains, yeah, just pay this tax and we'll be fine. So they were making money. They were prideful in their fortress. They were prideful with their finances. And they thought life was pretty good. Now, here's the problem: God hates pride. God hates pride. Here's what pride is: pride believes it can live without God. And pride has been a problem in humanity ever since Adam and Eve. Pride can creep in to the most humble of people. So we're going to look at pride a little bit here today. In Proverbs chapter 8, verse 13, we read this. Proverbs 8:13 says, "To fear the Lord is to hate evil." And listen to what God says next. I hate arrogant pride, evil conduct, and perverse speech. Now, we know that God doesn't like perverse speech. We know God doesn't like evil conduct. But at the front of that list, he said, first of all, I hate arrogant pride. I hate arrogant pride. Proverbs 16:18 says, pride goes before destruction, and an arrogant spirit comes before a fall. So pride is a serious problem, and all of us fall to it from time to time. So let me ask you to pause and think, where has pride crept into your life? It's crept into everybody's life. It's not a problem to say, yeah, I've got an issue with pride, because it creeps into everybody's life. Pride may have crept into your relationships. How do you know that? Well, anytime you feel superior to the people around you, that's a prideful thought. When you think that you don't need to get advice from other people, that's a prideful thought. When you're quick to criticize other people, whatever they do, it's always wrong. That's pride talking. When it's hard for you to admit mistakes. You can see where everybody else is messed up, but you never make a mistake. That's pride coloring the lens of your glasses. Uh, when you have a hard time with empathy, when you have a hard time feeling bad for someone else going through a difficult time, that's pride. Pride can come in many different forms into our life, and it can really ruin a relationship. Sometimes pride comes in and affects the way we see ourselves. When we think that we know more than everybody else, when we're overly concerned with how we look, those are all signs of pride. When you trust yourself and your abilities, your thoughts, when you trust you more than God or more than others, when you have a hard time listening to the authorities, all that is pride. I know best. Pride can even creep into our spiritual life. When we don't feel the need to pray because we figure we got it all figured out, that's pride. When we are wanting to only obey the parts of the Bible that we think are important, that's pride. That's pride. When we fail to give thanks, both to God and to other people, that's pride. That's pride. So pride can creep into our life in so many different ways. We have to be careful with pride. We need to treat pride like cancer. If you go to the doctor and you had cancer somewhere, you wouldn't figure, oh, sometime next year we'll fix this. When we hear the C word, when we hear that there's some kind of cancerous cell in our body, we want it out as soon as possible. When you notice a little bit of pride in your life, get rid of it immediately. Immediately, because pride, just like cancer, grows and it gets bigger and bigger. So how do you get rid of pride? It's hard. It's hard. Pride will stick to you like glue. It's a hard one to get rid of. One of the things we use to fight against pride is humility. Humility. Um, so when we see pride leading to an action, to undo pride, do the opposite action. When you see pride is causing you to be overly critical to others, do the exact opposite. Instead of being critical of them, look for opportunities to go and tell them what they're doing right. Compliment them, not falsely. Give them real compliments. You're counteracting pride in you. Instead of criticizing, you're encouraging. Instead of refusing to admit a mistake, be honest. Oh man, tell somebody about it. I messed up. I was thinking this and I was wrong, right? When you see um, pride begin to creep into the way you see yourself and you're so worried about how you look, relax, relax. You don't need all the makeup. You don't need your hair just right. Just be you. No, you don't have to look like a slob, but you don't have to look like you're getting ready for a cover shoot of a magazine either, right? There's a difference. There's a difference. You see pride in your spiritual life. Oh, be careful. Oh, how Satan likes to get in there. When you're not feeling the need to pray, you need to pray more than ever. So take some time, turn the phone off, get on your knees and talk to the Lord. When you find that you have not been given thanks to the Lord, stop. Pull out a piece of paper and a pen and begin to write down, make a list of everything you're thankful for. Let it start real basic. I'm thankful for this couch. I'm thankful for this carpet that my bare feet are enjoying. But then go into relationships and the things that God has given and the people that He's blessed you with, and thankful for the spiritual blessings God has poured into your life. The reason we need to make sure we take care of sin is because the reason we have to take care of pride is because pride grows. Pride leads into other sins. So we need to be careful with pride. And Edom's pride led them to work against their cousin, to work against the Israelites, against the people of Judah. Look at what happened in Obadiah verses 10 and following. It starts off, it says, because of the violence against your brother Jacob, God says, you're going to be covered with shame, Edom, and you're going to be destroyed forever. Now, hold on to that thought. We're going to come back to it. God said, Edom, you're going to be destroyed forever. Now, why? Because on the day you stood aloof while strangers carried off your brother's wealth. Now, my assumption here is, let me just read it first and I'll tell you what my assumption is. You should not gloat over your brother in the day of his misfortune, nor rejoice over the people of Judah in the day of their destruction, nor boast so much in the day of their trouble. So, in the day of their trouble, the day of their destruction, what is going on? Verse 13, you should not march through the gates of my people in the day of their disaster, nor gloat over them in their calamity, in the city of their disaster, nor seize their wealth in the day of their disaster. I think that Obadiah is writing this after, sometime after Israel had fallen, the southern kingdom, Judah, I should say more specifically. Uh, the southern kingdom fell to Babylon. Babylon came in and destroyed them and eventually wiped out the temple and everything around Jerusalem, destroying the gate and the city. And Edom appears to have been celebrating that. Not only celebrating that, they actually stepped in and began to loot the people of Jerusalem as well, went in and took all their things. And God said, that was a mistake. That was a mistake. They joined with Israel's army. So they joined with Israel's enemy. So judgment is coming. And here's where Obadiah talks about the day of the Lord in verse 15. In verse 15, he says, the day of the Lord is near, not just for you, Edom, but for all nations. And as you have done, it will be done to you. Your deeds will return upon your own head. The evil that you have done to your family, your cousins, the people of Judah, that's going to come back on your head. It's coming after you. So, what is the message that Obadiah has for us today, more than 2,000 years later? It's an important message. It's a message that says God is going to humble the prideful, but he's going to lift up the humble. When we let pride rule our life, God is going to humble that. But when we humble ourselves, God will lift us up. Edom rejoiced when Israel fell. They even helped the enemy. But here's the ironic thing. After Babylon conquered Jerusalem, it then later destroyed Edom. It took their people captive as well. Here's something that we have to understand. As long as we let selfish pride in our life, as long as we let self-centered pride take control, we are setting ourselves up for God to humble us. And I can tell you, if we humble ourselves, it can be painful. But it's never as painful as when God has to humble you himself. That's tough. Now, here's something interesting about Edom. Edom held on to its pride, and they mocked Israel and even joined with Israel's enemy in their destruction. But Edom today doesn't exist. Edom is gone. When Babylon destroyed Edom, it ceased to exist. Babylon conquered Israel, took them into exile, but then God brought them back to Israel. And now today, 2025, Israel still exists as a nation. They're still there. Edom in their pride mocked Israel. Edom is the one that's gone. Israel is standing again. What a testament to God's power. What a testament to God's encouragement that we need to lay aside our pride and walk with humility. Throughout the scriptures, it says that. Two passages in particular. I love James chapter 4, verse 6. James 4, 6 says this: God opposes the proud, but gives grace to the humble. God opposes the proud. When you walk with pride in your life, I'm better, I'm the greatest, God is openly opposing you. That's not the kind of enemy you want, am I right? However, he gives grace to the humble. When we humble ourselves, he gives grace. He gives favor that we don't deserve. I would much rather have God's favor than his opposition. So in a few verses later, James 4:10, he says, humble yourselves before the Lord, and he will lift you up in honor. James 4:10, let me say it once again. Humble yourselves before the Lord, and he will lift you up in honor. Humble yourself. Humble yourself. To live in humility, I believe, is to live in joy. When we can humble ourselves and think about the people around us, it leads to greater joy than when I just focus on myself all the time. I have found the more I focus on myself, the more faults I see and the more depressed I get. I need to see the faults, work with the faults, but then lift my eyes and see, you know what? I got it a whole lot better than a lot of people. How can I help them? So I think to find humility is to find joy. And when I was a little kid in school, in Wednesday night Bible study, we sang a song that tells you how to find joy. Joy. Jesus and others and you. I'm not going to sing it to you. I'd break the internet. But Jesus and others and you. What a wonderful way to spell joy. Jesus and others and you in the life of each girl and each boy. J is for Jesus, for he has first place. O is for others you meet face to face. Y is for you and the things that you do. Here's the important line. Put yourself third and spell joy. When you put Jesus first, Jesus said, seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things will be given to you. God will take care of you when you put him first. You put God first, his will over mine. Then you put others ahead of you because you know God's taking care of you. So I can be thinking of other people. And then I look to myself. I don't have to worry too much about myself because God said he's going to take care of me. When I put myself third, I can find joy. Edom, as cousins of Judah, the people of Israel, they should have been loving and caring for them. And you and I, no matter how bad we've got it, there are always people not too far away that have it worse than we do. When we're living with pride, we never notice them. But when we humble ourselves and we look to God first and others second, we begin to see people that are struggling. Even people that have it made financially. They could be struggling with relationships. They could be struggling with their health. They could be struggling with all kinds of emotional problems. Money is no uh, is not indicative of how well you have it in life. It just if you have money, it just means you have money. We all need help. We all need help. So I want to encourage you. Put yourself third and spell joy. Know that God is going to humble the prideful, but he will lift the humble up. Put yourself third and find joy. Find the honor that God himself will give you. God bless you. Have a fantastic day.